welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I'm on time today. Well, on time as in we're normally here at 12 o'clock and I am here at 12 o'clock today. I'm Anna from Eat, Move, Be Happy. Movement Not Miracles is your bite-sized, I was going to say daily check-in around good posture and keeping your joints mobile. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are typically the days that I run the Movement Not Miracles session, but you can go back and look at, my phone is running out of charge again. You can go back and look at the library of video sessions around Movement Not Miracles by checking the website www.eatmovebehappy.com, and there's lots of other ideas on the website to look after your health and well-being, including our online coaching programs. Okay, so Movement Not Miracles today, hips and stuff. So predominantly hips, getting our hips moving and some stretches. Some of this work will be doing some floor work. So there are some variations for if you are seated. If you are not able to go on use the floor, then you might be able, if you stick with the seated variations. And I will talk to you about those as well. And the and stuff bit is we're just going to do a little bit of work around sitting and standing tall and getting some movement through our spine. It's really easy for us to slump and sit in a slouched, rounded shouldered posture, just because that's the way we always do, and we find ourselves sitting for long periods of time. So keeping our joints moving, keeping our muscles stretched and a bit more flexible is a good way of looking after our posture and looking after our joints, which means we don't get the aches and pains that you get when things stiffen up. So to start off with, if you are seated, sit nice and tall on the edge of your chair with your back away from the backrest, using the muscles in your core, so in your tummy and your back, to sit and support your body weight, so to sit nice and tall. And if you're standing, exactly the same, weight evenly distributed between your left and your right side, standing up nice and tall out of your pelvis. Think of really stretching as if someone's pulling you with a rope from the crown of your head, so that you can stand as tall as you can be, rather than this, which is what we tend to do. So we're sitting or standing nice and tall to start off with. Shoulders back and down, so away from our ears, and our shoulder blades squeezing together on the back of our chest. And actually, just to help that movement, we'll just do some shoulder rolls, because this is a really simple way of encouraging a better posture in our upper back. So just rolling your shoulders back, up and back and down, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Use your arms if you can. Feel those shoulder blades really moving around on your upper back, and squeeze them together as you move your arms back down. Okay, so now that's standing nice and tall. So if you're standing or seated, if you're standing, you need to move your weight over onto one leg, and we're going to lift that knee up to the chest. So it's knee to chest rather than bending down to meet our knee. So we still want to be standing or sitting nice and tall. And while we're here, we'll just twizzle the ankles. It's easy to forget the ankles, but we may as well get, oh, my ankle's clicking. But we're aiming to pull that knee in as close to the chest as you can, just to get a bit more movement through that hip joint. Because typically we would sit and our leg would be in that position, and so your hip doesn't move beyond there. So what we're aiming to do is to pull that knee up to the chest and get some more movement through our hip. Standing nice and tall, shoulders still back and down, and then the same on the other side. And keep breathing. You might find you have one side that is a little stiffer than the other, And that's quite normal. We just work to minimise that stiffness. When your hips relax, see if you can pull your knee up a little bit more. And a bit of a twizzle in that ankle as well. Okay, so we're going to take feet a little bit wider than hip width. You can still do this one if you are seated. We're just going to take this into a side bend, so we're going to get some movement through our spine, and then we're coming back to the hips. So first of all, you should feel a nice stretch down the side of your body. We're going to introduce the arm in a second. Reaching down either side, and if I show you from the side, think of keeping your body in this vertical plane. So we don't want to be leaning forwards as we bend to the side. So really think of taking that shoulder down towards the floor, and then the other shoulder, so I'm staying in this vertical alignment. And as you reach down, think of pushing the other hip out, pushing this hip this way just to get a bit more stretch on the outside of that hip. But what we're going to do now is introduce our arms. So if you reach up with one arm and over, you'll increase that stretch down the side of your body. And the same on the other side. Don't forget to keep breathing. Now we're going to do the same thing in a second, but this time we're just going to cross one foot over the other. And we're still going to do a side bend. You will not be able to bend as much this time, but this is going to just shift where you stretch through that hip. So if you reach down, it's just going to stretch through our hip flexors in a slightly different way. So you probably find, well, you won't be able to bend quite as much, and you might be a little bit more wobbly because your feet are crossed over, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, we'll swap the cross, so the other foot in front this time. Just get your balance. And just doing those side bends. And just changing the focus of the stretch. Okay, well done. Right, now we're going to do some work on the floor. If you are still seated, you can move straight to the outer hip stretch. So if you bring your one ankle across your thigh and just gently push that knee towards the floor, just to encourage some external rotation in that hip, and you might feel a bit of a stretch in the outside of your hip. If you are working through on the floor like I am, I'm using a yoga block to kneel on, just to protect your knees. Something that's not too squishy, a folded up towel can work quite well. So we're going to set this up. I'll use the mat to get my alignment, so that your heel is in line with your front knee. And again, we're going to start by kneeling up nice and tall. So your knee is directly underneath your hip. This knee is moving back, so we don't want that knee caving in. So we're going to work through the muscles in your bottom to keep that knee out. Just checking my alignment. Interesting that muscle doesn't like doing that at the moment. It's a little bit tweaky. So we're just going to work through, and we're aiming to move our weight so that you're aim to push your knee over your toes. You're probably not going to get there, but we're just going to move forwards and backwards, keeping your body upright, and think of pushing your weight using the muscles in your bum rather than bending through your body. So it's the whole of the hips that are moving, keeping this knee back, don't let that knee cave in, and just moving. Now as your body gets used to this stretch, the other way of thinking about it is as you get as far as you can go, I want you to now think of pushing that groin towards the floor. So you should feel a nice stretch down the inside of this leg, but you're going to feel a subtle stretch in the hip, in the groin area of, for me, my left leg. Okay, and just relax that, and then we'll do that one more time. So go as far as you can go, and then think of pushing this hip down towards the floor. Okay, and then we'll swap sides. Just to move my mat. So heel in line with the knee. Kneeling nice and tall, up out of your pelvis. You can swap sides if you're seated, so swap legs. And knee back, and moving out towards, knee towards your toes. Gradually build the move up. You might not be able to go that far to start off with, but as you do a little bit more, it's like your muscles think, oh yeah, okay, this is what we're doing. And then when you get as far as you can go, think of pushing this hip, this groin down towards the floor. So you've got a nice stretch down the inside of this thigh. This hip is working, your glutes are working to keep this hip out, this leg and knee out, and then we're driving this hip down towards the floor. You might not feel any movement with this hip moving towards the floor. There's probably going to be maybe a couple of millimetres worth, but you are definitely stretching through that hip joint with that action. And one more. Don't forget to keep breathing. Okay, well done. Right, now we're going to do hip flexor stretch. We're just doing the not the deepest version, so the gentle version, the gentler version. So again, I'm going to be kneeling. In fact, I'm going to show you this leg first because I'm this way around and you can see what's happening. So kneel on one foot and stride forward with the other one so that your shin is vertical. And then your setup is really important. So what typically we would do is have a bit of an arch in our back. So what we need to be able to do is push that pelvis forward. So working through your glutes to straighten through your hip flexors in the front of your hips here and stretch down into the muscles in the front of your thigh, into your quads. And the more you push that pelvis forwards, the more of a stretch you should feel. And then just moving the weight similarly as we were doing before, using the muscles in your bum to move your whole body forwards without flexing through the front part of your hips, so that we don't want that to happen. The minute you bend from the groin, you shorten these hip flexors, and these hip flexor muscles in the front and around to the side of your hip, they stay really short most of the day if you're sitting, so we want to lengthen them. So keeping that pelvis tilted forwards, just moving like so. Right, we'll do the other side and then we're going to add variation in a second. I'm going to show you this way actually, so that you can see what we're doing with this hip. So get yourself set up, nice and balanced, nice and tall. Shin perpendicular to the floor, and then tilting that pelvis forwards and moving your whole body, keeping your body upright and pushing forwards so you feel a nice stretch down the front of that hip flexor. You should feel a stretch down into your quads as well. Okay, coming back to the first side, I'm going to do the same again, but this time we're going to introduce a bit of a side bend. So, get yourself set up. Pelvis tilted forwards, nice and tall, and you are going to just, as you come forwards, reach over to the side with the opposite arm to the leg that's forward, and just reaching. You won't get much movement, but we're just moving over to the side, and the same on the other side. Get yourself set up first, and again, a bit like with the leg cross and the side bend, tilting that pelvis forward. The side bend just moves the stretch into a slightly different place through those hip flexor muscles. So hopefully we're hitting all of them. One more. Okay, so hopefully your hips feel a little bit more mobile, a little bit looser, like they've done a little bit of work. Keeping our hips healthy, well, keeping all of our joints healthy is a really good idea, because if we have stiffness in one area, it can defer to others, so it causes problems somewhere else because our body overcompensates, which is why we end up getting stiffness or muscles that are stiff and then joints that don't move properly. So keeping moving, doing something little and often is a really, really good idea, and spending some time on your mobility and stretching your flexibility is also another really good habit to get into, and most of us could do more than we do, me included. So hopefully that's helped giving you some ideas on what you can do to look after your hips. I will be back on Tuesday, so have a fabulous weekend. But in the meantime, if you want to go and check out other Movement Not Miracles for ideas on short, bite-sized ways that you can keep moving throughout the day, then go and have a look at the website www.eatmovebehappy.com. Don't forget Live Better, our online coaching program to help you change your eating and exercise habits to healthier choices. That program runs Friday mornings 9:30, so go and check out the website to find out more. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy today. I think the weather's the nicest today. It's cooler but not rainy, and I will see you next week. Thank you.